What is up, Riftbounders? So set 3 preview season has finally concluded, and we know all the new cards in set 3 Unleashed. And boy, is Volley having a good time in set 3. There's a lot of new mighty units, and there's great support for dragons that I love. And I've been testing out some of the new cards that have been released for set 3 Unleashed, and they feel really, really good in Volibear. So in this video, we'll be going over my current deck list that I've been testing, and I'll show off some gameplay footage of how it does against one of the newer style decks in set 3. So before we begin, I gotta preface this by saying that this deck is mostly the same as my previous Volibear video. I won't spend as much time on the deck portion. I'll just be talking mostly about the new cards that I have added and basically going from there. So in terms of our rune split, it's the same as before, nothing new. Volley Legend, obviously when we play a mighty unit every turn, we get a free mobilize. Very solid legend, especially because we can utilize it starting turn 2 if we're going second, and technically starting turn 3 when we're going first, but usually the first 2 turns don't really matter as much as long as we're in a slow meta. Battlefields are still the same as before. Aspirant, Obelisk, Sigil. The thing is, there have been rumors that some of these battlefields, particularly Obelisk, might not be here after some point, but who knows? Those are just rumors. We'll just assume that we'll still have Obelisk, and our game plan with the battlefields is going to be the same. And in terms of our main deck, the only thing that we have changed is that we cut down on the Sabotage. This is assuming that the Draven meta won't be as heavy in the next set. So if purple takes a hit, there will be less purple. Therefore, we don't need as many Sabotages. We're also down to 1 punch first. I noticed that it's good if your opponents are fighting true combats with you, and we're not actually sure how many times that's going to happen. And also hitting multiple punch first in your hand is kind of a brick. So that's why we're cutting it down to 1. Doran's Blade is still the same. Challenges, we also went down a little bit since there's not as many. We can usually kill things in combat now, especially if they're holding. And then in terms of Heralds, Dragons, they're all the same. Now Rengar, this is one of the new additions I added to this deck. This card is insane. I think it is going to be the best card in Volibear. Even if you're not playing like traditional mid-range or Aurora, like even if you're just playing like dragons, Rengar is so good. You're basically playing him for 5 and no runes, and he acts as basically like a mini Deadbloom, which has almost the same stats. It doesn't have any of the power budget allocated in the deflect, and you can just play this on your opponent's turn, which is insane. Like you just hold up like 10 runes and you can just slap 2 Rengars. So Rengar is great. It's great against Watcher because when Watcher comes in, you play Rengar. He does not get discounted in terms of might because he comes in after. He's also just a super solid turn 2 play against a lot of decks, especially if you're going second. If you're playing against aggro, Rengar eats up aggro like no tomorrow. This cat is a true beast. I gotta say, this card is nutty. We're running 3 of Rengar because so far, at least when I've been testing it, Rengar is just basically like a stronger version of Snapvine. With the downside is that he will be stuck at the battlefield, which is a little bit dangerous. But Rengar has a lot of cool things you can do. You can score on your opponent's turns. He's just like a solid body, even if you don't even use him as like a Deadbloom effect where you just play him in base. He's still a 5 might for 6 6 might for 5 runes, which is like the inverse of an accelerated Scorcher if you think about it. So Rengar just is such a huge body. He's like a Darius that you don't need to accelerate, like auto accelerates, and is a lot more flexible. 6 might is just a really good number. It goes over a lot of stuff. I think especially in the next set, if there's a lot of like aggro kind of decks, Rengar is going to be basically one of your strongest cards you could start off with in your starting hand. So I don't know how to express my love for this card enough. This card is so good in Volibear. I mean, obviously, if you want to play Rengar, like the Rengar Legend, you can play him too, and he's a 7 might. But the fact that you can just get him discounted and play a bunch of these and not worry about the power is just insane. Yeah, I love this card. This card is one of the best things to happen in set 3 for Volibear. So we got 3 of Rengar, and we also got something which is a little bit weaker, which is 3 of Snapvine. I've actually been testing Snapvine for my Atlanta set 2 Volibear deck, and it's actually really good. Especially, it makes your It's basically the same as Rengar. It makes your aggro matchups a lot smoother. And technically, Carnivorous Snapvine is also quite good against Draven. You just gotta watch out for the Spinning Axe. So Snapvine and Rengar fulfill like a similar niche in the sense that it's an anti-aggro tool, and Snapvine's a little bit more flexible in the sense that like you don't have to. It's better against like non-aggro, maybe like slightly mid-range. It's not very good against like decks like Irelia, which have like a humongous unit. So in an Aurora mirror or like Protect the Queen matchup, maybe Snapvine can be removed. But Snapvine is just so good against anything that tries to score points early versus you, which is generally the case. So Snapvine, and this is an Origins card, so I think it should be three of Snapvine for Volibear, because one of your weakest matchups is aggro, and this is just the perfect anti-aggro card. It's just a big body with a challenge attached to it that obviously only hits like battlefields, but that's not really a big issue. And the fact that it's 6 might means it's really hard for your opponent to get over it. Obviously, in a meta where smokescreen and pump spells are very prevalent, you don't want to be playing this. But against like the aggro decks, they don't really have that many ways to reduce your might or increase their might. So this is such a great card. And obviously if we have Snapvine and Rengar, that's a lot of turn 2 plays that you can have that just shuts down aggro completely. Continuing forward, we still have the same counts of Stormbringer and Direwing, and we did add the Gentle Gemdragon, which is, I like to say, the big Herald of Scales. This thing is awesome. Basically, whenever you play a dragon, you ready up to 2 runes, which basically means if you play it, it costs 6. The downside is that because it's not a discount, it replenishes runes. So you actually have to have the amount of runes before you can play like a card to get the discount. This does mean that sequencing some of your cards, especially in turns where you have multiple Gem Dragons and Heralds, that becomes a little bit more key. So you got to make sure that you're playing your cards in the right order so that you can get the refresh and not capping out, getting the wrong like a number of runes. And so Gentle Gemdragon is great because it's also no power. It's just 8 for 8. It's just dead. Like you just play it in base. It's like a dead bloom, but it costs 6 essentially. So you can play Gemdragon into Doran's Blade or even Show of Strength. It's just so flexible. A lot of 2 cost. Well, we don't have that many 2 cost spells or 2 cost cards, but it's a great way to play with the 2 cost cards. Another thing with Gemdragon is that you can have like the God curve. So let's say you're going first. First turn, plop down Doran's. Second turn, you have 4 runes, plop down Herald. Third turn, you could plop down Gemdragon for 6. And then it refreshes 2. So you have like, I don't know, you could plop down another Doran's Blade or something. But the thing is, if you have a Herald and a Gemdragon in play, you're basically a miracle deck. As long as you can get the card draw, you're going to be pumping out dragons like no tomorrow. And there's even like a weird, funny situation where let's say you have 2 Heralds and some Gemdragons. All your 5-cost dragons cost 1 because of the 2 heralds, but when you play them, you get 2 more runes per dragon. So in like let's say an optimal situation where you have like multiple heralds, like let's say 3, you have all 2 gem dragons, maybe 3. I'm still testing with the ratio here. You play like a Blazing Scorcher for 1, or even 1 accelerated. Actually, no, I think you have to pay 2 at least because it's an additional cost. But yeah, you play Blazing Scorcher for 1. Let's say you have 3 gem dragons out. You just get 6 runes back. So basically every time you play like a dragon, you get 5 runes for free. So in like an optimal situation, you can actually get up to 30 runes in a turn because of Gentle Gemdragon, which is kind of funny. The only downside with this card is that it is slow. So you have to get to 8 runes before you can start playing it, or you have to have it Herald in play to discount it. So in a faster meta, Gentle Gemdragon is not nearly as good because they'll be rushing you down, and you're going to struggle to get points. And Gentle Gemdragon doesn't do anything the turn it's played other than like discount itself. So a lot of the times against aggro, you do not actually want to see this, mainly because it does nothing. Like you'd rather see Direwing, you'd rather see Rengar, Snapvine, Blazing Scorcher, so many other things that you'd prefer. Or even like Elder Dragon, let's say, if you somehow hit 12. But yeah, Gentle Gemdragon is more for like your mid-range matchups, your Aurora matchups. This thing, that's one of the reasons I don't have it at 3 copies of, because if we do expect that the meta will speed up, we don't want to have a lot of these, or your hand is going to be completely bricked, because just being able to play them down is going to take at least a turn or 2 before you can actually start acting on your opponents. So this card is amazing. Don't get me wrong. but it's definitely not as flexible as some of the lower cost cards like Rengar. And other than that, the only other addition we got is Elder Dragon. Oh man, Elder Dragon is so cool. I think one thing is everyone sees Elder Dragon and they think, oh wow, Aurora is broken, and that is kind of true. Like, let's say I did have a matchup against an Aurora Yi, and they have 3 Elder Dragons. Every time they hit Elder Dragon off of Aurora, I just cry because as our deck only has big guys, and every time Elder Dragon comes out, you just lose a bunch of your big guys for free. And the Imperial Decree effect, where any of your damage is enough to kill enemy units, is also kind of nasty because if your opponent has more units than you, you will never be able to get on the board. So, Elder Dragon, we only keep 1 of. The reason I have only 1 Elder Dragon is because if you have 2 in your hand is bricked. Mainly because you never want to cast more than 1 Elder Dragon per turn against like 90% of the field. The only time you want more Elder Dragons is against like an Aurora Mirror. Even mid-range, you do not need more than 1 because by the time you do play an Elder Dragon, you usually are in a position to win the game anyway without 2 Elder Dragons is overkill. I think it's just complete overkill. I think the only good time to play it is if you expect a lot of Aurora, so that's when you want Elder Dragon. But other than that, I think just 1 Elder Dragon is sufficient, especially if you're playing against aggro. You're never going to be playing this a lot of the time, and relying on Aurora flipping an Elder Dragon when you have so many other like crappy like units, well not crappy, but like mid-range units, it's a stretch. Like you're really preying on like a miracle like flip. Whereas, like, let's say you play a more traditional high-end Aurora build, and you only have 3 Elder Dragons, 3 Katagrins, or like 3 Dead Blooms or something. So the chance of hitting Elder Dragon is really high. So in that case, yes, you would run multiple Elder Dragon, but because we are running so many mid-range units, it doesn't make sense to run more than 1 Elder Dragon. So that's pretty much it for the main deck. On the side deck, it's mostly there's nothing new in set 3. It's just we have our Unyielding Spirits, our Akshans. Oh yeah, I added Akshan in because I think Akshan is a lot better than Thermal Beam for us because Akshan's a bit flexible as like an early drop. So against aggro, you can actually just put him in just as a 4-drop, just so you have a body. And Akshan is really good into Aurora mirrors. So if you have Akshan, your Aurora opponent better have like not so fast or something of the sort, or that's your Aurora. So like I think in an Aurora mirror, what I would do is I would remove all of my Auroras and put in triple Akshan. But it depends. It depends. If you think your opponent has Akshan, I would do that. I would swap my Auroras with Akshans. If you think your opponent doesn't have Akshans, I would still keep the Auroras, but also swap in the Akshans, just because it will destroy your opponent's game plan if you steal their Aurora. And then we still have 3 Ferrous. Ferrous is just so good. I don't think we can get away with removing this card, and this is like our key card to like not just crumble and die against yellow decks because of all the kill spells. So Ferrous is still like generally good across the board. It's just really hard to fit Ferrous into the main deck because we want to still have the dragon package and have like an anti-aggro package as well. So our anti-aggro package is the triple Rengar, triple Snapvine, and we also want to keep our dragon package. So it's really hard to fit it into main board. I can see a world where maybe against yellow we can swap out some more dragons with Ferrous just so we don't have that crappy of a game. But that's up to debate and more testing as well. So yeah, that's good. This is pretty much it for my changes for my set 3 Volibear. We added 3 new cards from the new set. And I'll be probably making a video discussing some of the new cards that we could add in the Dragon Volibear or just Volibear in general. I don't think a lot of the other ones are particularly good just because they kind of like go against the core concept of how this deck works. But I'll be elaborating on that in another video. So I guess now that we're done with the deck review, let's just jump into some of the games that I played against some of the new decks in set 3. All right. So here we have a game against a friend who is playing Lilia. Lilia is an aggro-ish deck because you're basically summoning sprites every turn, getting points as fast as you can, and trying to get to that 6-point mark where you can end off with a Watcher and some more sprites, or maybe even like unchecked power and some sprites. So in this matchup, you'll kind of see how well the new anti-aggro cards like Rengar does because it's just so strong to hold those battlefields and prevent your opponent from scoring. I think this matchup is very favored towards Volibear just because your units are so big and Lilia can't get over a lot of them. So we can see how this plays out. I think after I mulligan, I get rid of Stormbringer because Lilia's never holding. Get rid of Show Strength because we're never gonna need the value to draw a lot of cards. Usually just with a few cards we can win the game. And I end up with a perfect curve. We have the Doran's Blade into Herald into double Dune Drake. And I am going first. So this game, I am heavily favored. You'll notice I play the Doran's Blade out. And then my opponent plays the Sprite, the Sprite Flask, which summons a Sprite when it's played. They get a point on the battlefield over there. And then I play my Herald. And that battlefield, basically, whenever a Sprite dies or a temporary unit dies on it, you get to draw a card. So basically, their Sprite Flask gets to draw them 2 cards while scoring 2 points. So unfortunately, the score is a little cropped out, but it doesn't matter because we can try to remember how many points they're at. So right now they're at 1 point. Their Sprite thing breaks. They have another Sprite. They send in another Sprite, go to 2. And so they are getting points really fast, and they don't really care too much about Sigil of the Storm because as long as they score like 1 point per turn on the other one, they're in a good spot. And then so lucky for us, we have a crazy curve. And then I do notice that they're holding up 2 runes. So in this time, I think they do know like what my deck is. So there's no real surprises in what I can do. But I think they were holding up 2 runes in case I like play. I don't even know. What could I even play? Oh, I guess it's more for like I can't go in with the Herald plus the Doran's Blade, or else they could trade it, and that would suck. But I do get to play the 2 Dune Drakes, and I'm debating whether to send in the Herald with the Doran's Blade just to force out like a discipline. But I think I end up not doing it just because like I can discount Kadregrin, and I'm pretty sure my game plan here is to not actually play Aurora because Aurora. The thing is, Aurora, it's like the most likely thing I'm gonna hit is probably a 5-drop or maybe a 6-drop, and I think Kadregrin just puts me in a way stronger position because I get like one of the beefiest guys, and Kadregrin is only going to be a 7 cost because of the Herald. So that's going to be generally pretty good. So right now my opponent's at 2. They go to 3. They play the Sprite Burst, which is summon 2 sprites. It's a new card in set 3. It's basically like 2 sprite calls, but for 5. And they do get both. And they do have to burn a rune because of Sigil of the Storm. So I think at this point I get a little greedy because I'm thinking, should I attach the D-Blade to Herald to make it mighty to draw more? I think that's not particularly good for this matchup. Mainly because I don't need that many cards to draw, and the Doran's Blade is much better suited to stick on a unit to put it at a battlefield, essentially giving me the Master Yi +2 on defense. So I do play the Kadregrin. I draw 4 cards, which is pretty good. I do hit the challenge, not that it really is that good. And then now, because my opponent's at 4 points, I need to go in and sort of defend. I need to stop them from getting to 6. 6 is a key critical number. So I attached the Doran's Blade to Dune Drake. So this comes in at a 7, which is pretty large. There's really nothing my opponent can do here other than maybe Sprite Call and Stupefy to trade. But even then, I'm not even in a bad spot. They do flip out the, what's it called? Consult the Past. And then I go into the other side with my other Dune Drake. And this is where I shouldn't have attached the Doran's Blade to the Herald. Because if I attach the Doran's Blade to that Dune Drake, now I have 7/7 on both sides defending, which is insanely hard for Lilia to get through. They would have to play a Watcher. They don't even have enough runes for a Watcher. So I feel like at this point, like because I've established like a dragon on both sides, a dragon in base, I'm in a very good spot. Mainly because they're only at 4. They're gonna have to struggle to get to 6 points, and then they're going to have to commit a lot of resources, and then that will prevent them from hitting that lethal mark at 6. So I think my opponent plays a Mask of Foresight, sends the Poro in, and unfortunately for them, I think they only have 1 discipline, so they can only 2 disciplines? Oh, no. So Poro goes in at 3, and then they discipline, and then do they have a second discipline? What do they have? Second discipline to go over the... Oh, they have a Stupefy. So they have a Stupefy. They go over the Dune Drake. It's not even that bad because now they go to 5 points instead of 6. And they used up all their resources this turn. Basically, all I have to do is go back on that battlefield with a big beefy dragon, like with our Kadregrin over here, and then develop in base. Because they're at 5, at most they go to 7, and we are chilling. We are hard chilling. They develop nothing. Literally, all they did this turn was play a Mask of Foresight, and there's really nothing they can do. So I go in with Kadregrin. I clear the thing. I think they tap a rune. Oh, they stupefy me just for the draw because they don't want to waste the rune. And what's the play now? So I use my runes and I play. I think I play another Kadregrin. I just resummon a big guy. We draw another 4 cards, and yeah, it's looking pretty bad for my opponent. They have no units. They have 1 Mask of Foresight. They only have 7 runes. They can't even accelerate Watcher, and I basically have the chokehold on the both battlefields. And I'm pretty sure this game is a wrap. I think we do end up playing it out just to see what they could do. They play a Sprite Call, summoning 2 more sprites for 5, and the sprites go into Dune Drake, and because it has the Mask of Foresight. How does it go over the Dune Drake though? Oh, smokescreen. So they smokescreen to go over the Dune Drake, and then they put the 2 sprites there, which is futile because my Kadregrin walks over the next turn. And then yeah, this game is a wrap. There's literally nothing they could do. I think I end up playing. I just end up playing some more dragons in base. Right now I can play the Gem Dragon for 6, which is essentially 4 because it replenishes 2 more, and then all my Dune Drakes are all my Scorchers are basically 1 because of Herald and Gem Dragon. And I think I end up playing them? Yeah, I play the Herald, I play the Dune Drake, and then I can't actually play the the Scorcher. Wait, did I mess up the math? Okay, it doesn't matter. We just go into game 2. My list here still has a Bryn here instead of a 3rd Akshan, but it's basically the same. I think I put in the Unyielding Spirits for the unchecked power. I think I take out the Auroras because they're a little too slow, and the challenges are not particularly useful against the sprites. So there's really no units for Lilia for me to kill unless they play like Sprite Queen, which I don't think my friend was playing in their deck at the moment. So yeah. So looking at our mulligan, we are going Obelisk Arenas. We have 2 Kadregrins, a Rengar, and a Gem Dragon. We always keep Rengar, mainly because he's an anti-aggro. I'm like trying to debate whether to get rid of the Kadregrins or the Gem Dragons. I'm pretty sure it's get rid of the 2 Kadregrins here. I don't think I need Kadregrin. I don't need the card draw. I just need like units that I can play early. And Gem Dragon can be played a little bit earlier than Kadregrin. So you can see I'm really struggling here. I do get rid of the 2 Kadregrins, and we do put in the Akshan just for the body. So we start off at 4. My opponent plays a 2-drop. I think it's the one that gets +1 for each temporary unit at its battlefield. And then I'm at 4 runes. I get to plop down an Akshan just for an early drop, which basically threatens that 2-drop that my opponent played. So it's going to be hard for them to move in unless they move in with a Sprite. And then they do go in. And then they play 4 for a Sprite, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So they go to 3 points after the arenas. But now they tapped out. So like my Akshan gets to go in for free. I get to kill the Sprite Girl. I think another play they could have done is put the Sprite where the Sprite Girl was. But the point of their Lilia is to rush me down because they can just spawn a temporary every turn. But you'll notice how I don't even play the Rengar here because that Sprite is going to die. And I'm okay with them. The only downside is that next turn they could send another Sprite there and go to 4 points, which puts them at even, which is pretty good. So putting the Ferrous here is okay. The other option is throwing the Rengar at the other one, but the Ferrous is a little bit more rune efficient, just so I can use all my runes, and then I can I can still curve into Gem Dragon all the same. And yeah, so they play the Sprite Flask. They send the Sprite in. They go to 4 points. So now we really have to pick up the defense because of the fact that if they go to 6, I'm actually in a dicey position, especially with Watchers and unchecked powers. So we will, let's see. So they summon they stack that side. That thing is 3, 3, and 4. So they have 10 might on that side. And right now, if I send in my Rengar, I cannot get over because Rengar is only 6. If I had Rengar punch first, I could, but no Rengar punch first. So in this turn, I just do a bit of developing. I just play the Gemdragon for 8. I get 2 more. I get a Doran's Blade. I reinforce the Ferrous, and that is an 8 might on left side, which is massive. My opponent really only has unchecked power and Watcher to go over this. So that unless they like summon like Sprite Call into Sprite and sack 3 sprites into it, that's the only way they can get through. And even then, I still generate the 2 like mech boys, which are actually quite good with Elder Dragon. Now that I think of it, I think there's not a lot of ways to generate weak units to take advantage of your Elder Dragon Imperial Decree effect. So Ferrous Forerunner does have some synergy with Elder, but it's a very niche synergy, so I wouldn't really count on it. And then my opponent, I think they do end up doing, what are they playing? They're playing Lilia for Sprite, so 3 for another Sprite. And then they do need another Sprite to get over this, or some form of spell. They do Smokescreen my Ferrous, which feels bad because the mechs are just going to come right back. And then I do get the 2 mechs in base. And then I think right now they went to 4, 5. I think they're at 6. I don't know. Not seeing the score is kind of annoying. And then they develop a little bit in base with a Sprite on battlefield. So this is the turn where I think they are on 6 or like getting close to lethal. So I have to defend. I do send the Gemdragon in, making it a 10 on defense, which is insane. And then I think I throw in Akshan. I don't want to commit too much to the battlefields because of Watcher. I do get to slap another Gemdragon there. And because I have 2 Gemdragons, it refreshes me 4 runes. And I can keep 5 up for Rengar, which is insane. I can also play the Scorcher for another 5, I think. Because I have 2 Gemdragons, if I play Scorcher, I refresh 4. So it really only costs 1. And I think I play the Scorcher in base, just in case I get unchecked powered. And yeah, so we have 5 up. We leave it for Rengar. If my opponent comes in with Watcher, I'm perfectly fine because of Rengar. If they come in with unchecked power, I can still score 2 more points next turn. It is a little dicier, but I basically, yeah, it is a little dicier if they uncheck power me, but it's not the end of the world, I think. So let's see what happens here. I think they're thinking they don't have Watcher or unchecked power. Or maybe they do have Watcher, but they don't have Unchecked Power. I think Unchecked Power is their best out here. And then they summon 2 sprites. And I think they try to clear one side. And then it doesn't. Yeah, so they try to clear right side. But they're even playing around Rengar. And I don't think it's enough. Because I have 8 plus 6, 14 plus. I have 18. So they can't even clear the side because I have Rengar. So that's really sad. And then I just go to 7 after this. And all I have to do is stack battlefields again. Oh, and I draw a punch first. Yeah, this game is a wrap. Even on like Arena's Greatest, I felt like I wasn't really sweating that hard. And yeah, so like right now, I think they are at 6. But the issue is they need unchecked power into Sprite Call or like unchecked power into Sprite with Lilia. So they need 12 runes to actually win the game here. So they do uncheck power, but because they're not at 12, they can't actually get 2 accelerated sprites, which basically means that's done. That's done for. Yeah, because they uncheck power me, and then but Lilia gets exhausted, so she doesn't even generate a sprite. I mean, yeah. So my opponent gets a sprite. They go to 7, yeah, and then they lose. Because I have too much. Yeah, because right now they go to 7 and they can't even double conquer. I mean, they could. Technically, if that is a sprite call, I have to be able to go over it. And I draw an Elder, but I don't even need Elder. I just have to play the Doran's Blade and the punch first to get on both sides, and I should win, I think. Elder's a little too cheeky. Like, it doesn't really do anything. And I think, what do I end up doing here? Oh, I just end up sending the Doran's Blade with a double mech. I think there's nothing I can really get punished by. Maybe the Vex spell, the Vex hidden that stuns you, that could punish me. But yeah, it is a sprite call. And then, yeah, so I got the second game. And then we did play another game just to see what would happen if I went first. But given the fact that I won on my worst battlefield, it does seem like I am quite favored. And I also drew like reasonably well. I think game 1 I drew super well. Game 2, I drew okay. I had the Rengar, but I didn't really need it. So uh, game 3, I also hit the nuts. I feel like I have all my anti-aggro. I have Herald, D-Blade. I have like a perfect curve into Direwing, and I also keep something up for Punch First. So this game, we're going to skip through it quickly because I think it is kind of done and dusted right from the get-go. We play the Doran's Blade. My opponent goes to 1. I play this Herald. My opponent goes to... They draw a bunch of cards from that battlefield. And let's see. Oh, no, that's not the draw battlefield. That's the one where your temporary units get +1, like, shield on defense. And something of the sort. So it's kind of hard for me to get in there. So they go to 2 points. And then they play another sprite. I think they go to 3 here, which is good because it's aspirants. And then we do 5. Oh, no, we just play 6 for... Oh, wait. I just realized we just top decked the Gentle Gemdragon. We have the dream. We have Doran's Blade into Herald of Scales into Gentle Gemdragon. So this is a bit of a high roll game. So take that as you wish. But yeah. I mean, we're on aspirants. We're going first. We have a perfect curve. There's really nothing Lilia can do for us to lose this game, because I think like there's just no way Lilia can get to a lethal score range before we have like a massive army. So they're only at 3 points, and we have 2 up. I was considering sending in the Herald and holding up for Punch First, but there's really no point in greeting, because even if Lilia goes to 5 here, it's no big deal at all. And they do get two more through the Sprite Call and the Lilia Sprite. And now it's like I have the world at my fingers. We have the Herald, we have the Gemdragon. We can develop infinite. And right now I'm trying to find the correct sequence to play Kadregrin and Scorcher. I think it's just Scorcher, refresh 2, and then we play Kadregrin to get, what is it? To get 6 for 7, and we get 2 more. Oh, whoa. Wait a minute. No, I think I was like trying to figure out the sequencing. I was like, can I get the Direwing in before the Kadregrin? But no, you have to play. It's either Scorcher Kadregrin or Scorcher Direwing, which I think obviously you want Scorcher Kadregrin. And yeah, so we do Scorcher, we do Kadregrin, we draw a bunch of cards, and then we can play a Dune Drake and still get 2 back. And I think we go in. Yeah, we do send 1 in because I want to prevent my opponent from get double conquering. Because right now they're at, and I go to the other side because that side is a little stronger for my opponent, and I know they can't defend it this time, because even with Mask of Foresight, their sprites are at 5 on there, and they do stupefy me just for the draw. So right now they're at 5 points. If I can deny them to go to 7, that's huge, because that's like, right now I have a critical mass of units at home, so I can basically just send 2 big dudes into battlefields every turn. So it's good for me to deny the 2 points. And I also have Punch First if I'm really concerned. And I have a Doran's Blade. So I attach a Doran's Blade. Now I have 10 defending on the right side. Basically a Mountain Drake with a Punch First in hand. Like, this game is over, because they can't get through this Gentle Gemdragon with the Doran's Blade without a Watcher. I think with Watcher, it's going to be... It goes down to 7... And then Watcher comes in at 8 with the Mask of Foresight, which is quite good. But then the Watcher just gets cleared on the later turn, and they can only really play the Watcher this turn. So it's either Watcher or Unchecked, and they don't have either of those. And then at this point, they can go to the other side. They can go to, what is it, 6 points? 6 points. But that still means 2 more turns for them to actually win the game. And then at that point, they develop. They plop down some guys in base. I send my second biggest guy over, Kadregrin, or my next biggest guy, and now we made the wall. We made the wall. And at this point, it really doesn't matter. Like, the game just plays itself. We just play our dragons in base, and then play 2 big guys at each battlefield every turn. And then trying to hold up 1 for Punch First, just in case. So yeah, at this point, it's kind of nutty. We got the Herald, we got the 2 Gemdragons, and right now, if I play any 5-cost dragon, I get runes back. Every 5-cost dragon gives me runes. So yeah, we play Kadregrin. We draw, like, what do we do? Yeah, so we get 4 runes back because of the Gemdragon. We draw 4, and we don't hit any dragons, so we don't get to refresh more runes, unfortunately. But yeah, this is the dragon dream right here. You get the 2 Gemdragons every time you play a dragon. You get more runes back, and then yeah, we're basically just reinforcing these guys. And I realized, I was trying to play around Unchecked Power, but Unchecked Power deals 12 damage. So if you really want to play around Unchecked Power, you have to equip 2 Dorans to Kadregrin. But I mean, to be honest, at this point, we're just having fun. We're just having fun drawing our whole deck. And my opponent is forced to play the Watcher this turn, and that reduces it to 6 and 9. And I think they have to play around Punch first. So what do they end up doing? They send everything to the Gemdragon side, which is not even particularly good. It does force out the Punch first. So I go to a big number. They don't have the Lilia counterspell because there's really not much to counterspell in against my deck. Like Stormbringer is good to counterspell, but the thing is, I don't actually run that many Stormbringers, mainly because it's so easy to get counterspelled this set with Lilia and the new purple one. So I think Stormbringer is still going to be a one of. I don't think it's ever going to be more, especially if we're playing dragons. And another thing is, yeah, there's not too much to counterspell in this deck. It's mostly units, so you're not too worried about counterspells. They do go on the other side. They finally go to 7, so now they're in lethal range, and now their only out is the unchecked power into double sprites. But to be honest, at this point, I have the unyielding, so I'm forcing them to have unchecked power, defy, and 2 sprites. And now I double equip onto Kadregrin, and that thing doesn't even die to unchecked power. So now they need unchecked power, a stupefy, a defy, and 2 sprites. So at this point, it's like unwinnable because they just need too much to truly win. And yeah, we built up too big of a wall, I think. And Watcher doesn't get them over, so you could just leave all your guys in base. And then yeah, we did start building more dragons, but at this point it's just for fun at this point. And then my opponent's turn, I think they have another Watcher, which goes over my Kadregrin, so they can go to 8. But then it's like they have no units, so they go to 8, and then I think they did mention that they shouldn't have played the Watcher because they needed to search for the unchecked power combo. But at this point, it's like it doesn't even matter. I also realized that they had the double Mask of Foresight, so I set the Gentle Gemdragon in. But I need to send 2. Obviously, if this was like a true game and I sent it in and confirmed my decision, that would be pretty bad for me. But it's just a for fun test game that we had. So no biggie here. And yeah, we go to 7, we go to 8, we just hold. And then now it's like, yeah, they basically need to have the unchecked power combo. And it doesn't even matter because I have Unyielding Spirit. I also do have Rengar. So even if they did send a sprite in, like on the final push, and as long as I have 5 runes up, the Rengar will deny them the final win point. And it will also get me a point, and I will win on the hold. I think the VOD ends here. But you can see that within our 3 games against Lilia, obviously the Lilia deck, I would say, is not the most optimized. But this is an example of how against an aggro deck per se, this deck actually performs reasonably well. It performs reasonably well. We got a lot of tools for anti-aggro, and by the time we start rolling up with dragons, with heralds and gem dragons, it's just really hard to outvalue us. So yeah. I think that's going to be it for this video. I'll probably have some more gameplay footage of maybe Volley versus some other decks in the near future if anyone's interested. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions about anything I said in this video in the comments below. And as usual, thank you for watching.